Thank you for joining. This webinar is Plan Your Dream Brand for 2022. So this is like super exciting. I'm super excited for 2022 with like COVID letting up and moving forward. That's what I'm excited about. So just some housekeeping, just if you have any questions during the presentation, type them into the chat and we'll be answering them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A. You're also welcome to unmute yourself and jump in and ask me the question. That is fine too. So if you're wondering who we are, I'm Deborah and Ashley is our operations manager. And then we have Taylor with us today who does a ton of stuff, is Ashley's like right-hand person. So she helps out with a lot of the marketing for our clients. So we help home designer professionals transform their brands to attract dream clients, sell projects for more, stay current online, and get their time back with automated systems. And our specialties include brand strategy, logo design, custom websites, copywriting, social media, automating processes with software. So I always say that people come to us for our branding, our website, our logos, copywriting. They probably stay with us, absolutely, because of our processes and our integrations and software and getting them to work more efficiently. We have two different branding programs. We just launched the brand starter package. So the brand starter includes like a smaller brand strategy, logo design, copywriting, custom websites, local SEO optimization. So it's for like smaller clients that just want to get online. And then we have our brand transformation package, which includes everything from brand strategy, brand kit, logos, business cards, copywriting, website, SEO, and our high-level CRM, which helps you get organized with online calendars, automated appointment reminders, and then social media profile audits and optimization. So it just depends on where you're at and what program is a good fit. So let's get started. Consumers are more educated on how to research online than ever before, which means building trust before you even talk to them should be your top priority. This is like super important. If you're thinking they're going to wait till you have a conversation with them before, so you can like earn their trust and get their business after they've talked to you, they are going to be looking online and making decisions before you even are able to have that conversation. So, and because of COVID, people are trained to be looking online and they're not going to go 100% back to where they were. They have new habits now. Their habits are looking more than ever online. So marketing plan for 2022. I want you to really think about, we as a business, as an agency, do this exercise all the time. And you can apply it to different parts of your business. So really think about what is working and what is not working. And I want you to I'll go over each of them. I want you to rate them from 1 to 4. And 1 is being more important, 4 is less. So think about what you're having problems with, what is working really well, and think about rating them, because how you rate them is going to be like what you should think about as your priority to focus on. You always need a focus. Are you attracting your ideal clients and projects? So are you attracting the right type of person? Are you working with that right type of person? Are you getting those projects you love? Is that working? Is that not working? How would you rate that as like order of importance? Like 1 being the most important, like it's not working at all. That would be a 1. Are you getting paid what you want and should? So are you really thinking that you're getting paid what you need to be getting paid to be sustainable and what your value is that you're offering? Is that a 1, 2, 3, or 4? And then are you staying current online with a brand that represents you and your work? Is that a 1, 2, 3, or 4? And are you working long hours because you don't have systems and processes in place? Again, is that a 1, 2, 3, or 4? So what would you say? I would love you to put into chat, like put them in the order 1, 2, 3, 4. Like if this is your 1, put a 1. If this is your 4, put a 4. If this is your 3, if you don't mind, like put in chat, what are you struggling with most? What is not working? Put your not working as a 1. Or just even put in like, what is your 1? What is the thing that you need to work on the most? Are you attracting your ideal client and projects? Are you getting paid what you want and should? Are you staying current online with a brand that represents you and your work? Are you working long hours because you don't have systems and processes in place? Like, how would you rate yourself? I'm going to just hold for a moment while you think about it. Let me know. Is everybody understanding it? Does anybody want to come off mic and say what they're struggling with? Rate them all low. Got it. Yep. That makes sense. And sometimes you just have to like pick 1 to work on. And some of them like overlap. I would say that like attracting your ideal client and projects and getting paid what you want and should, like sometimes parts of those can overlap, like how you can improve on those, how you can attract more of your ideal client and get paid more. And even stay current online. So some of them you can do at the same time. So let's start off by talking about attracting your ideal client and projects. For one, you really need to think about who you do want to work with. Who do you love working with? What type of projects do you love doing? I know that like we, Ashley and I and Taylor, our whole team, we actually really, really love working with interior designers. I've been in business for many years. I just love our clients. In fact, Gilda, who's on the line, is one of our clients. And it's been such a joy to work with her and everybody that's interior designers. And it's because like I was trained as a graphic designer. And I am a fine artist too, but why do you love working with that type of person? Why do you love those type of projects? Just really think about that. And then let's talk about like how you're going to get more of those clients, right? if you really love, let's say you really love doing kitchens and baths, you know, think about how you're going to communicate that, you know, in your marketing. So like in your services, you need to be talking about kitchens and baths, your unique value. Like, why should they work with you for that type of project versus somebody else? What do you have to offer? Is it that you have certifications? Is it that you have done a ton of projects? Is it your process? You know, why, even in that space, like communicate in your marketing who your ideal client is. If it's kitchens and baths in a certain location, if it's kitchens and baths for a certain style home, like communicate that size of projects, project investment. The project investment can even be communicated without saying how much it is for the investment, right? Is it a fully custom like project for really high-end homes? I mean, even showing a photo of one of your projects can communicate that, you know, who that type of ideal client is. Design style, social proof. I've done so many kitchens and baths for, you know, these high-end homes in this high-end area, right? That's social proof. I have Google reviews that are talking about how amazing our process was and how amazing it was to work with us. That is social proof. Information about you and your business, locations you service, like communicate who you want to work with. Don't make it just generic. Really think about who you're trying to target and then communicate that in your marketing. That is going to help you get your ideal clients and projects. Build trust with your ideal client by keeping your brand consistent. So that messaging, like this messaging, the story, the photos, the copywriting, everything, you know, the brand, the overall brand. So your brand, messaging, logo, website, social media, business card, sales slide deck, proposal, email, marketing, client onboarding documents, all of it needs to be consistent, needs to reflect your brand and communicate who you're working with. Think about creating website content to attract your ideal clients and projects. So communicate who you are selling to. So think about if somebody comes to your website, when they first come to that homepage, you have 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. All the studies say you have about 3 seconds to communicate who you're selling to, how you can help them, or and that you're a brand that they can trust. That's a big one. If they go to that website and your website looks a mess and they're going to have to dig to find your photos, or the brand looks like you're doing this for a hobby and not a real business, you're not going to get paid as much as you want. You're not going to attract that ideal client, right? Because, you know, if you're looking like that, it's a hobby and not a real like business that has systems and processes in place that they can trust, they're going to go to somebody else. So think about when they come to your website, communicate right away who you're selling to, what problems you're solving for them, what services you're offering, proof you've done it before, information about you and your business and what you would like them to do next. And I want you to think about, like, a lot of websites, I know that they start off with, welcome to my website. This is all the information about me. Think about your content on your website as if you were having a conversation with somebody. If I started having a conversation with you and you first met me and I said, oh, I've won all these awards and I've been in business so long and blah, 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 all about myself, right? You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I am done talking with her. Like, she is so self-centered. She is not gonna care about my needs. Think about your website content the same. You want to be like thinking about them. Have the content flow like you would have a conversation. You know, what is the problem that they're having? What type of solutions could solve that problem? What kind of services, you know, would solve that problem? How could I help educate them and help them, like, guide them along that path? What, show them that I've done it before. And then once they're interested in what I have to offer, then it's okay. Once they're like, oh yeah, I am interested in this. Now I want to learn more about them. Does that make sense? So you're starting off with them first, their problem, trying to help them. Think about help first versus, you know, talking about yourself first. So that is key. I know so many people do it the opposite way, and it's probably because they don't know, like, how to communicate. Like, if you're struggling with the copy, definitely reach out to us. You know, we have copywriters, content strategists, like, that's what we do. Or, you know, hire somebody for the content. And if you hire somebody for the copywriting, just make sure that they are doing content strategy, like copy, like brand strategy. There is strategy to figuring out who your ideal client is, what your ideal projects are, and then how can we create content to tell that story, communicate that story, and build trust and get them to move to the next step. There's a lot of strategy in that. So make sure that it's just not generic. That's what we want to get away from. Create raving fans by delivering a consistent client experience. So your online brand, in-person experience, client onboarding, services delivered. If you are finding that some clients, like, when they're working with you and they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea you were going to help me with this, and I'm just like, I had no idea that the experience was like this. Like, if it's a surprise to them here in the services delivered, then you're not communicating it here, right? Our job as brand strategists is working with you, figuring out what are you doing and delivering that is unique, that is, you know, really, like, what processes do you have? What are you doing? Because I know all of you are doing a ton of stuff. Like, you are delivering so much and doing so much. I probably, like, almost 100% of the time, they're not communicating that online. All those little things that you're doing. And you might think, oh, well, anybody could do it. That isn't true. Like, your clients typically can't do a lot of that stuff, and they definitely can't do it as well as you, because you have more experience. So we need to capture that story and tell it up here, right? So everything is consistent. Your client experience is consistent. When they come in, your online brand is looking professional. the in-person experience looks, is like top-notch, client onboarding, services delivered. It is all, really good. And if you create these raving fans, then they also are going to share how amazing it is to work with you to other people that are interested in doing the same type of projects you did for them. Get paid what you want and should. So getting paid what you want and should. So some of that, think about, on the back end, tracking your time, tracking your expenses, really making sure you are, getting paid what you should be for what you're delivering. For one, that is super important. And maybe you don't have to do it all the time, but like we track everything. And then, I can look back and say, okay, we've delivered this type of project like a whole bunch of times, and consistently the value of it is this much. Then I know how much I need to price it. Like I know I need to know, how much I need to sell it for in order to make it sustainable, right? I want you guys to be doing that. Like know your value, know what you should be charging for something. And then that's the first step to getting paid. First you have to figure out your value, and then you have to figure out like, okay, now I know what I should be getting paid. Now let's work on getting paid that much. So here I want to talk about what your company's perceived value is. Like perceived value is a prospect, like your prospect's perception of you online, your prospect's perception of you in person after they're working with you. Like if you're finding that you're only getting referrals, that's because there's so much trust that that is getting, when somebody refers you and you've done a project for them and they refer you to somebody else, there's already a ton of trust that's built. Once somebody comes and views you online, if that's their only experience, they view you online and your online presence, whether it's your website, your social media page, is not telling the right story, then they're going to perceive you as like not as professional, maybe as doing it as a hobby. They're not going to be willing to pay you as much. That makes sense? Let me show you a couple of examples. So, for example, like this is one of our clients' logo before and after. So if you were a prospect searching online and you came across this logo and it was like this versus like this, like you'd see this as more of a hobby versus this as more of an established professional business, right? If you go to a website, this is the website before, like if you go to this one, it's not showing off the beauty of her work, Jana's work, and it, it looks more like somebody doing it on the side that is not as experienced. If you look at this website, the website after, right, it looks like she has more experience, she's more established business. A prospect searching online, if they, came across this website, this company online, and it was this one, they would be expecting to pay more to this company than to this company. Like their expectations right off the bat, they would be expecting to pay this company more. than this one. And again, they would be expecting to pay this company more than this company, right? It's just like, you know, if you're shopping for anything and you're going to a higher end store, right, you're gonna expect to pay more than a lower end store. Same concept. Your website should create the same emotional response that your work does when prospects are experiencing it. So think about when you're like in one of the rooms that you designed, how like the beauty of it, the calmness of it, whatever like those emotions are, that's what you want people to feel. So if I go back to this, like here I'm feeling it's disorganized, right? It's not giving me like a designer, like custom beauty. Like here, it's really showing off her work and telling like the like story. So design your website to get paid what you want and should. So definitely your online presence is going to make a big difference in how much you're getting paid or how much, you know, you can charge. It'll also give you more confidence in charging more. Use colors that complement your work. So I can't say this enough. We've done a lot of websites and they're like, I was just talking to somebody recently and they're like, well, I really like that color, but then they never use it in their work. So we want to make sure that the colors, the fonts, you know, everything like isn't competing with the photos of your work. It is like complementing them. So use fonts that are beautiful, clean, easy to read. Arrange elements on each page in order of importance. Use a professional photographer to take photos of your work. I can't emphasize that enough. Like if you use a professional photographer and the photos look clean and beautiful, like it's going to show off the beauty of your work. If the photos look like the lighting isn't right and they look dark and, you know, almost dirty, right? Nobody wants that. They want beauty. They want their space to have that beautiful outcome. That professional photographer photos will help you accomplish that. Let me show you one other one. Here's one that we just launched. So here was her homepage, her portfolio page, and her contact us page, right? Again, her work is absolutely gorgeous. And, you know, her website wasn't showing that off. So like here is the new website. Again, who would you trust more? This company or this company? Right? You'd absolutely trust this company and be willing to pay more to this company than to this company. Staying current online. So I'm going to back up. So if you're like top importance, we're like attracting your dream client and projects or getting paid what you want and should, then I would say branding, messaging, you know, improving your online presence is something that you should work on to improve these. Right, having a more professional brand, Because even if you're getting referrals, they're going to go validate you online. And if you're not getting any clients online, I tell you, it's, good chance it's because your brand isn't doing representing the work that you're really delivering. Staying current online. So this is more important than ever. I'm just going to point out a couple of tips which are super important. So staying current online with a professional brand will build trust and validate your company. Absolutely. One of the most important places to be is having a Google My Business right here, Google My Business profile. So if you don't have one of these set up, highly recommend it. Reach out if you need help. You want it set up, you want it optimized with photos, with your bio, with all your information. Absolutely, it's important to work on getting Google reviews. This is where the Google reviews show up. So Google My Business is increasingly one of the most important places to have your business listed. A lot of times it's what people see first when searching for your company. It also is where you get the Google reviews. And I'll tell you what people do when they're searching online, and I just have it for Sydney, Australia, just so I'm not picking somebody that ends up in the webinar, but it could be any location. So what people typically do when they're searching online for a local interior designer is they go to Google, they do a search for interior designers, either they might say near me, or they might put in the location, interior designers, wherever that is. Like I'm close to Sacramento, so it could be Sacramento. So then what happens is the map section shows up. There is a whole bunch of ads, and then there's the maps, and then there's the organic search below. But people are going to click, a high percentage of people are going to click on the maps and see who is local to me. They're going to click on the map section. They're going to go through, they're going to see who has the best reviews, and they're going to click to look at their website. So typically they're going to pick 3 to 5 people. Think about when you're looking for anybody, you're looking for an electrician, you're looking for anybody. That's what you're going to do. Search locally, bring up the maps, see who's close to you, look at their websites, give that homepage, top of the homepage, 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3. Am I going to look further? Am I going to look at the navigation, maybe look at one of the pages? Am I going to scroll down? You have about 3 seconds to do that. So, being in Google Maps, getting the reviews, and having a professional website is going to help you get more local, leads, local business. And also having good Google reviews will help you show up in the local SEO like search engines. Your social media profile should create the same emotional response that your work does when prospects are scrolling. So when they're scrolling down, think about the feeling that you want them to get when they're experiencing like one of the rooms that you've done. That's the same feeling that you want them to get when they're scrolling down, right? You want it to be, and think about too, the graphics, like if you're using any graphics or what type of photos you're putting up there. If you're trying to sell like high-end, beautiful, like projects, and then you're putting like some ugly clip art on it, That's not creating that emotional response. It's not creating that look and feel that matches your work. Create a social media experience that represents you and your work. So really make sure that the content is interesting. And I know that that's sometimes hard for people. If you can't do it yourself, reach out and get help. I know that's something that we offer is content that communicates your services and unique value you offer. So post photos or videos of you working on a project or at an event. Use graphics, colors, and fonts that complement your work. Use a professional photographer to take photos of your work. Increase engagement with content that will help them to get to that next step. So, sounds so funny, but sometimes if you don't tell people what to do, they don't do anything. So, what do you want them to do next that will help them move to that next step? So create content using time blocks and scheduling social media software. So think about, when people say to me, oh, I should be on social media every day. No, I don't think that. Like, that's way too much time. It's too hard to get your brain into like thinking about what you should post and everything if you're doing daily. Do it in time blocks. Think about, spending a couple hours, a week or every couple weeks, using some time blocks, scheduling it out, using software. Make your time really efficient. Then save time with systems and processes. So we are huge into systems and processes. For us personally, we use them, and then for our clients, absolutely, because we're here to try to help them move the needle the most. So whether you set up the systems and processes yourself or you get somebody to help you, having them in place will help you do higher value, like have the time to do higher value activities. There's plenty to do. We need to take those small tasks and automate them as much as possible. So work smarter, not harder. So templates, software, integrations, automations, processes. There is so many different ways that you can work smarter, not harder. And it is, I know some people are like, well, the software is expensive. I mean, you always have to look at both sides of it. If it's taking you away from being able to do like higher value work, software is like less expensive than hiring somebody. So or doing it yourself if you're not able to do the higher, like maybe you're not able to do like client out or prospect outreach because you're too busy working on all these things, doing them manually. Like if you're not getting enough work in, but you have all these tasks to do, maybe you need to like automate some of this so you have more time, or you have more time to work at doing the design work. Absolutely, work smarter, not harder. I think it's important to invest, if possible, in some of the software, the automations, the templates and everything, because once you have them set up, you can take on more work. So some of examples of that is use like a professionally branded sales deck. So like this, just having a Google slide that is professionally designed, that that you can share for projects. Maybe you have a couple different types of sales decks depending on what type of project you're pitching. Having those all set up will save you a ton of time. Yes, it does take a little bit of time to set it up, but think about, you know, how can you stop doing like the custom, you know, putting something together every time? Like have stuff ready that's already created that you can reuse. Manage your contacts with a CRM software. So software that has your contacts in it. So, you know, you're organized. You're not scrambling and looking for stuff all the time. So manage your contacts with this CRM software. There's all kinds of CRM softwares. We use one called High Level, which is CRM and marketing software. I absolutely love it. We use it for ourselves and for our clients. And it can integrate with your website and everything. There's so many different options. Even, you know, just signing up for some of them by yourself, like booking leads with an online calendar. That's like super small investment. Absolutely one of the best things I ever did for myself. That was for sure. And I always recommend it. We set up tons of clients on it. And some of you might be like, well, I don't want to be like having people book on an online calendar. Think about, there's different ways you can use it. So for example, you know, when you're going back and forth with somebody, oh, are you free this time? When are you free this time? Like that is definitely a waste of time. Like you could cut out all that time by just having a couple of different types of online calendars. One is you could have a 15-minute, it's really a qualification call that's on your website, but you're not going to call it a qualification call. Maybe you just say it's a 15-minute consultation or something like that. Really, it's a qualification call. You're trying to figure out, do I even want to meet this person? Do I want to do like an in-home appointment, right? But having that one calendar online on your website, you could, let's say you're going to say, okay, I'm going to set aside a couple hours on Thursday morning that I'm going to have those qualification calls, or Mondays and Thursdays or something like that. I'm going to have a couple hours. So if somebody, like a couple, is looking at my website over the weekend and I'm closed or I'm busy with the project, they can just book a 15-minute call, and it's really easy, and they might decide to work with me versus somebody else because they were able to contact me and book a call. And you can create different calendars. So then you could have a calendar that is maybe for an in-person appointment that is a couple hours long or however long you need it to be. But you can't set up the software, so it's only on specific days. The link is not on your website. You only send them an email that has the link in it. And so let's say you talk to somebody and it's qualification call and you are interested, you send them an email, and maybe it's, you know, a couple, they need to talk and see when they're both free to book, you know, the in-person meeting. Then they could both look at the calendar, see what works for them, and book the time. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use an online calendar. I know for myself, I have quite a few set up depending on like what type of an appointment it is. Send automated appointment reminders. So just like when you signed up to be in this webinar, how you got automated appointment reminders. Absolutely, like people get busy. Like have it set up so when they schedule an appointment, it automatically goes on their online calendar. They get appointment reminders, and even best, like our system does, like email appointment reminders and text message appointment reminders. We find that really the text message appointment reminders, you get a better response. But either way, there's so many different software options that do that I would say if you don't have anything set up, just even using an online calendar software, is a step in the right direction, put that way. Use email templates to get reviews. So when you're asking for Google reviews, it's not easy for people, especially if they're not technical, to figure out where to go to click for the review. It's also not easy for a lot of them to know what they should write in their review. So by having an email template that has like ideas on what to write, like what problem you were having and how we helped you, what your experience has been with us, would you work with us again or refer us to someone, what type of questions, what type of review do you want? What do you want them to say? Think about like kind of giving them ideas on what you want them to write about. That could be helpful. And having that Google review link will get you a lot more reviews. Use email templates to save time. So maybe it's client onboarding, maybe it's, there's so many different ways that you could use email templates. Let's say they got off your calendar and they need to reschedule, or, let's say they're interested in a bathroom design. Could you have an email template all scheduled, all ready that has like what your process is, what the steps is, or more information about them, or even when you're delivering, when you're working on that project, maybe you have different email templates based on what stage of the what stage they're in for that project. That also could be super helpful. Every time you're writing an email and you're thinking, oh gosh, I use this one all the time and I'm spending all this time like rewriting it, that's the time that you need to like save it as a template. So I hope that all this was like super helpful for you. Again, just really think about these 4 buckets and which one, should be your focus to work on first. Typically, like I always recommend starting like with strategy, building out the assets, and then trying to, get visibility for your business online, but making sure that you have the messaging, the branding, the foundation built is going to help you like with all of these. So again, if you are interested in, I'll put this in chat. If you're interested in booking a consult with me, if you think you need help, or you're interested in any of our programs that we have, feel free to schedule an appointment with me. I'd be happy to talk to you. You can also check us out at Home Designer Marketing or on Instagram at Home Designer Marketing. Let me know what I would love to hear your feedback on what you thought was helpful, what you learned, what you think you might work on. Feel free to either write in chat or come off mute.
Deborah.
Hi.
Hi, I have a question. Kind of doesn't pertain to most of this, but If you have a name for your business and you change your name, can you change that in Google so you keep your reviews? Or do you have to go with a whole new business name?
That's a good question.
Not like I have a ton of reviews, but
yeah. I think you probably can update your name in Google. But Ashley, my operations manager, she would have a better answer for that. But I'm thinking that you could update the name. Yeah, but I'm not, if you want help with it, let me know. And I could see if Ashley knows.
I haven't changed the name. I'm just curious if that is even an option. And I don't have many reviews at all. So, and then
it'd be good to keep what you have, though. I definitely could ask her. I know that we change name. We help clients change names all the time. So, let me.
And then you and I had spoke a while ago, and I don't remember, did you send me a proposal or any information on your services for building a website? And if you did, could you resend it?
Well, we just updated our services
because
we just launched those 2 new packages. So I would say that let's just reschedule. No obligation, obviously. And we'll just review it.
Okay.
So I'll send you a link. We can book a time, but yeah, we just we just decided to have 2 different packages just based on feedback from our clients, because some of our clients are really struggling to get business in. And then we have other clients that are super busy with projects and they need help more with processes and systems and automations. So would you say that you're more somebody that, is struggling to get enough work in, or are you super busy and overwhelmed? It seems like it's one or the other.
Yeah. Getting more work in.
Yeah.
I have been in the home staging, and I am focusing maybe more on being the designer instead of schlepping stuff into model homes. So getting business in.
Got it. Yeah. So you'd be a good fit for our smaller package that we just launched.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then probably we had talked before about redoing my website, and at that time I was like, no, not again. I just did a new website 3 years ago. So, but I am under the realization that yes, maybe, it is better for me to redo it.
Yeah. Well, right after the webinar, I'll give you a call and we'll just book a time.
Okay. Good.
So we'll do that. That sounds great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining too. I hope that this was helpful to everybody. And I'll give you a call, Lori,